Spring aeration week this year started with sunny, dry weather on Monday and Tuesday. This made for a very clean process to start the week. Greens were sand top dressed after being vertical mown. They were then solid tined, and then this sand was brushed in and incorporated into the profile of the greens before being blown off. Greens have been rolled multiple times and will be in good condition for the weekend. The nice weather meant that fairways could be aggressively vertical mown, hollow cored, removing material from the surface, and then these cores were allowed to dry out before being dragged and blown. Fairways were then sand top dressed before being brushed and mown again. However, the weather turned wet for the rest of the week starting on Wednesday morning. This meant that the aggressive cultural practices such as hollow coring was not completed on numerous fairways. Instead, sand top dressing was applied and then the fairways were punched with solid tines, so no material was removed. The change to wet weather had two main impacts. First of all, a lot of cores that were pulled could now not be dragged and blown. They had to be picked up. You'll see some stored near the nursery green. These cores will be grown in to give us new tee approach and fairway sod, and some other cores were spread out on the driving range to fill in the bare spots in the driving range rough. The driving range was also aggressively vertical mown and overseeded this week. And the second main impact of the wet weather was that the aggressive cultural practices like pulling a core could not be performed. Any material that had been removed already was much more of a time-consuming process to pick up by our staff, and the sand that we put down was much harder to incorporate into the ground. Overall, the majority of the golf course will be cleaned up and in great shape when we reopen on Saturday, with some areas of sand still to work in the coming days. The course and grounds team did a great job of completing all of our other details as well, such as completing all of our bunker detail and edging all of our sprinkler heads and yardage markers. All of the rough on the golf course was also sprayed with our annual insecticide. While the golf course was closed this week, some other projects were completed, such as line painting in the parking lots, and a sinkhole that was developing on the ramp between the two parking lots was repaired. A different contractor was also on site this week installing netting on the left side of the driving range to limit the amount of golf balls being lost into the forest and blackberry in that area. Over the course of this week, 745 metric tons of sand was applied to fairways, tees and the rough. 95 metric tons was applied to greens and approaches. About 2,000 pounds of seed was applied to tees and approaches, and about 500 pounds of seed was applied to the driving range. As always, thank you for watching this video.